Hi. Today on Remarkable Amplified, I welcome Carolyn Hardy, Vice President, Professional Services, and we have a few things in common. We work together at Point Click Care. We got to know each other through mentoring circles, and we have a friend in common, Kelly McAndrew. On my first podcast, Kelly and I had a conversation of championing others and the importance of championing oneself. And on that theme, Carolyn, what do people, especially women, need to know about the importance of advocating for oneself?
Thank you for having me. Awesome topic to be talking about with you today. I'll start with this. Like I always tell my kids to ask for what they want. And I tell that to my team members as well, because you want to always have your name come up when opportunities arise, and you want people to know that it's something that you're interested in. So I say when you're advocating for yourself, it's not just about speaking up, it's about articulating your goals, your values, and the steps you're taking to achieve them. And so on the professional front, I think it's really important that people, myself, I do this, I like to craft and share my unique story and articulate my value and my goals and aspirations in my career. And I share that with people, my boss, my mentors, my sponsors, because when there's opportunities, I want people to know Carolyn wants to do that and have my name on the list if it aligns with my goals.
So, talking about ourselves, I think, is a bit easier than asking for help or asking for what we want. So, why is it so hard for people to ask for what they want? What are some barriers?
I think it really takes confidence and courage to know your value and what you deserve and to keep, again, asking for that help to get you there. And perhaps the answer will be no, but if you keep trying, you'll find a yes. Or perhaps the answer is no, but, and you can get some advice and direction on some things you need to do differently to help you reach those goals.
Who would you go and ask besides people within your company? Who else have you asked for help from?
I ask for help all the time, and I think um, part of being able to do that is building up a group of people around you that you can ask for help from, whether it's from feedback on a presentation you're going to give, advice on an outfit you're going to wear to a conference or to a business meeting. It's you need to have a network and relationship with folks who can give you honest feedback that can help you along the way.
I'd love to chat about the importance of a network. And what does that look like for you? How does one go about building a network?
I've been at Point Click Care for over 10 years now. And man, there's some really awesome people here. We have an amazing culture. And one of the things that I've built over the years is a sort of personal board of advisors with coworkers at Point Click Care, coworkers that have now out to be my friends. They sit in all different departments across this organization. And so they offer a perspective. They know me well. They know our company's goals and values. And so they can um, help direct me when I feel like I need some direction. Outside of work, I have friends who are accomplished in their own right, professionals in many industries. And so I always like to get an outside perspective of business challenges. How do they solve them in their organizations? What does it look like for them to be a vice president at, let's say, a large financial firm? And so, we share stories and tactics of how we navigate within organizations and champion ourselves and others in that process. At work, one other thing at Point Click Care I love is there's opportunities for networking through women's mentorship circles. There's new manager groups for folks that they can join. And I always encourage people to, sort of broaden their horizons outside of their immediate teams. The Toastmasters groups. I don't know if it still goes on, but there was a CrossFit group back in the day when I first started. And when I would be in the office, I would join that. Again, it's like not just business, but to sort of cross into the personal side of interests. And you can build relationships that can help you in business.
Sometimes what gets in the way of being able to do that is a bit of fear, especially if it's not a connection that you already have pre-existing, or if you're going to a conference or event and you're in a room full of strangers. And if fear is a part that kind of bubbles up because it's not natural for you to network or just walk up to somebody that you don't know, what are some tips that you would have to get over that fear and really make that connection?
I'll just start by saying whenever I'm going to a conference or I'm feeling fearful, one of my tactics personally is I always like to have a nice outfit. That's one thing that builds up confidence. And there's this saying how you can get big, and there's studies that show, feeling like you're pumping yourself up, a good pump up song. I'll start any day with that, so that gets me going personally. There's ways when you're, whether at business meetings with a group of people that you don't know, or you're stepping into a conference and you don't know someone, you try to find something in common. Perhaps you have some techniques or questions or openers to strike up conversations with people, and that sort of is your entry point into sort of a cold call opportunity where you need to meet people you didn't know.
Yeah, and I think another tip I would have is just prepare yourself with 3 or 4 questions, whether that could be about the event itself, like, oh, I saw that they had this activation, I had this speaker. What did you think? And being able to bring something into common where maybe perhaps you didn't have anything in common outside of that event. It's a nice way to open the conversation itself. Yeah. And the other part is people do talk a lot about their careers and their roles. If you were there for a professional networking event, talking about your career paths or inquiring about somebody else's is a really great way to kind of open up that conversation too. And I'd love to try that on you. And let's test out that question on your career path. Tell me a bit about, how you got into your career or how it's changed over the years.
Yeah. Awesome. I started after university. I joined the Peace Corps. I have always been really into travel and adventure, and I just loved learning and embracing different cultures. And so that was an avenue for me to do that. I lived in Thailand for 2 years. After I did that, found my next role on Craigslist for a software company in San Francisco. It's probably aging myself. Craigslist, I don't even know if it's still around. And at first I was like, is this really a real job? But it was a startup gov tech. And I was a consultant. I traveled a lot, probably one of the few remote employees at the time. But I built relationships there that actually eventually landed me at Point Click Care. And funny story on that, we had a new COO that had started at that company, and he was sort of reaching out to everybody to get to know them. And I didn't get the invite. So I reached out to him and was like, hey, welcome to our company. I would love to learn more about you, and open the door to a professional relationship there, which was great. Eventually helped me land at Point Click Care. And I've been here for 10 years. I've been in various roles from education development to professional services to operations. And I'm fortunate now to lead the acute and payer professional services team. I have had, lots of growth, some up the ladder, some lateral moves. And, people helped me get there in my 10 years at Point Click Care. And when we talk about asking for help, there's a Mr. Rogers quote I love. I tell my kids this. I say, like, look for the helpers. You'll always find people who are willing to help. And at Point Click Care, I have leveraged helpers, whether it's mentors or sponsors, to, help grow my skill set and my career here.
I love Mr. Rogers. How can you not, learn so much wisdom from that show, from that quote itself? And when I think about helpers, was there a particular helper most recently that's helped define your career path, or that you've been asked for help and help define somebody else's?
Yeah, I think back a few years ago, I took a role that was a bit of a risk. It sort of took me out of professional services into an operations role. And as I was interested in this opportunity, I knew I had to reach out to folks to help me get there. I had to be strategic and plotting, my path to get this role. And so, yeah, I asked for help. I called everyone who I thought could help me with this opportunity, both to learn more about it, what was their experience in working with folks and these team members. And then, I learned what the role was about. And then eventually there was some mentors slash sponsors that I asked them to pick up the phone and call the hiring manager and say, hey, I think Carolyn could be the one for this role, and, talk about what I've done for them or their team, and to champion me at that opportunity. And they did it, and they didn't have to, but they probably wouldn't have if I didn't ask. And I often tell people when they call me or, to get some information perhaps on a role within my function, but not necessarily under me, I say, you should ask me. I don't have to say yes, but like, ask me if how I can help you through this process. I open up the door for how I can help them.
It makes me think about that saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't even explore the opportunity, ask for what is available, really just spend the time doing a bit of the asking, giving, and
Mhm.
it's a reciprocal relationship. But if you don't even take that chance for asking what you want, you may not ever even get on that path. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And as we come to a close for our conversation, any final thoughts that you want to share?
I just want to encourage people to set big dreams, goals, and do the hard work to achieve them. And along the way, to find the helpers who are, going to help them move closer to that goalpost. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for your help, for being a helper in my career journey, a helper in this podcast. And I can't wait for us to have a conversation again. Thanks so much.